Here is Cynthia Enfield as Hallie Flanagan and David Spencer as Congressman Martin Dies in the final scene of Act 2 of Hallie.
Mrs. Flanagan, the statement has been made in the testimony that you're in sympathy with communistic doctrines. Are you in a position to deny that?
Yes, Congressman Dies, I am.
Even though this cousin of yours, Miss O'Shea...
For the last time, I am not now. I never have been, and I never want to be a cousin of Miss O'Shea.
I take your point.
Mr. Chairman, I am an American, and I believe in American democracy. I am not in sympathy with any other form of government in this country.
That is your statement. You are not in sympathy in any way, shape, or form with communism. You're opposed to it. You know nothing of it personally. But you can't deny, of course, of your own personal knowledge that you have, that there is no communist activity on your project.
If there is, it is without my knowledge or consent.
Yes, but can you prove there is not?
I can definitely refute certain specific charges.
Yes, but can you swear that no pamphlets were distributed, no speeches were made, no meetings were held on the project on paid time? Can you refute that under oath?
I cannot refute that under oath because I have not been present.
Exactly.
I cannot prove that these things didn't happen, but can you prove they did?
Well, I have sworn affidavits.
So do I, stating the opposite. Why don't you feel that mine are equally as valid?
Mrs. Flanagan.
You have no more proof than I do. You won't allow my hearsay. Why will you allow other people's?
Oh, you forget, Mrs. Flanagan, I have something quite concrete. I have these plays, the contents of these plays. Oh, and we've already come up with example after example.
Mr. Dies, the Federal Theater is not a communist organization.
Mrs. Flanagan, how do you know? You have no idea how many communists there are around us. The communists have rolled the Trojan horse inside our city. It is here. That we don't know the enemy is within doesn't mean that they aren't all around us.
You're saying they're here, even though we can't see them? Even though you can't prove they're here?
Especially so. They are the hidden enemy. It is their job to keep their infiltration secret. The more they are invisible, the more you know they're there.
That's madness.
Are you accusing me of being mad?
You ask me if my offices are run by communists. I say they aren't. You ask me how I can tell. I say I've never seen them. You tell me that is exactly the proof that they're there. That means that no matter what I say today, or if I spoke to a kingdom come, I can never convince you we are guiltless.
Exactly.
That's not justice. Ever since this trial began, I've been hoping to...
Hearings.
This trial. Ever since this trial began, I've been hoping to set the record straight. And now I see I could never do that. You don't want it. You want to believe what you want to believe.
Are you accusing us of injustice?
You accuse me of being un-American. I say that you are. This procedure is the most un-American procedure that could exist.
And what do you think is American? Running a theater supported by the government, which exists to criticize that government. Or do you think we should pay you to say these things about us? To have you say the things that you say on the stage?
Yes! This theater was founded to be free, adult, uncensored. This theater was founded on that most basic right of the Constitution, the right of free speech. If you censor that right, if you make it say only what you want it to say, then that is communism. That is totalitarianism.
Oh, what would you have us do? Say only what you would have it say? It seems like... You're too goddamn uppity, you big hump of horse rump. That is absolutely obscene. The government of the United States should not be paying money to show people this obscenity.
But if you censor that, then you put in place the machinery to censor everything. Then only those things which some authority once said will be said.
Then who shall pass on what can and cannot be said by our government theater? You?
The people! They will vote by deciding when and when not to come.
People have to be led. And we have no control over what you're saying in your theater.
Why should you?
Well, because we're paying for it, that's why. If we're paying for it, we have the right to have it say what we want it to say.
Contrary, Congressman, don't you understand that if you
No,
do that...
there, it is time to adjourn. We are all in agreement. Recommendation to the Finance Committee of the United States House of Representatives to cut funding.
You're burning down an entire building to get a mouse out of the basement.
Mrs. Flanagan, the government needs this money for much more urgent matters.
What about the 8,000 artists still on relief?
Well, they'll just have to stop being so lazy and get down to work.
This is their work.
Oh, I mean real work, Mrs. Flanagan. We're going to get the government out of show business if it's the last thing we do.
Wait, I have things to say. I want to speak on behalf of the Federal Theater.
Mrs. Flanagan, there is no federal theater.
I said wait! It may seem like a game to you, this thing called theater. It may seem like play, therefore nothing at all. Nothing to support with funds which might better go for bread or gums or ditches. What use is it? Since I've given my life to this art, you won't mind if I try to tell you. Everyone who works in the theater has a secret. They know that the spotlight cast upon the stage is a magic light. It is the light of truth. I have seen things which seemed perfectly true in a book, perfectly true in life be put on stage, and this light cuts right through to the lie within them. In the light of the stage, things which seem impossible to bear are lit with a light of compassion. Things which seem like transitory joys are joys forever because they exist night after night in the light of the stage. I have stood in the back of the theater and seen people who were tired, dispirited, lonely, lose themselves in the action which they saw before them. I have seen them laugh and cry, and in the release of that laughter and those tears, their spirits were renewed and lifted. Is this nothing? Can you honestly say that this is worth less than apples, less than ditches, less than guns? It will survive the stage, whether or not you approve it. It exists for your pleasure, but not at your pleasure. The artists whose voices you silence today will speak again, loudly, clearly, and no decree can stop them. When you and I are gone, when these temples to democracy are gone, the words which have been written and spoken on our stages will still be sounding. Why should the arts exist? The arts are the soul of the country. They sing for us. They shout for us. They cry for us. They are our voice. And whether you hear or not, that voice cries out. Even with a fist in the throat, that voice sounds, and that voice is eternal.
These theater folk really know how to over-dramatize things, don't they?